Algebra 2, Section 1.3, Solving Linear Equations. An equation is a statement that has two expressions that are equal. So we talked about expressions in the last section. So you have some expression 2x plus 3. You have another expression 4x squared minus 7. And all they're saying is that they're equal. And your job then is to solve this equation for the unknown value of x. When you have an equation, you can have answers. You can have zero answers, you can have one answer, or you can have many answers for an equation. Back on an expression, you could evaluate at any value you wanted to stick in. But here you must solve and find whether there are 0, 1, or many answers. To solve an equation, you go through many steps that you're familiar with already. Addition, property of equality; subtraction, property of equality; multiplication, division, property of equality. And what you're doing is basically, for each of those, you're either adding to both sides to keep it equal, subtracting from both sides, multiplying to both sides, keeping things equal, or dividing. I think you're all very familiar with that already. Let's try an example. The first example, 1. Solve an equation with a variable on one side. So we have the 4/5 x plus 8 equals 20. First step would be to subtract 8 from both sides. Result of that step, using subtraction, property of equality, is 2. You'll have 4/5 x on the left equals 12 on the right. Next step most folks would do is either multiply both sides by 5 using multiplication, property of equality, or just multiply both sides of the equation by the reciprocal of this fraction of 5/4. Sort of combines two steps in one that way. That cancels out. On the left side, we just have the x now right over here. I simplify this. This becomes a 1 and a 3. X is 15. And I solve the problem in 2 steps. Good idea to always check the solutions when you're solving an equation. You can take the value found, cases here we found one answer, and plug it back into the x and complete the work to check that it's correct. So if I take 15, so 4/5 times 15 plus 8 equals 20. Well, 5 and 15, I can simplify that to be 4 times 3 plus 8 equals 20. 12 plus 8 equals 20. Yeah, it does. So it checks okay. All right, here's a word problem for you. Create a model. During one shift, a waiter earns wages of $30 and gets an additional 15% in tips on customers' food bills. The waiter earns a total, this is a total, of $105. What is the total of the customer's food bills? Again, we're going to be doing some linear equations, and you're pretty familiar with them. Here's a model of a linear equation you are most probably familiar with: y equals mx plus b. It's essentially the same, but rearranged for different purposes. But for this particular case, for this example 2, the total is 105 with a tip. His tip comes, well, his total is money that he earns comes from the fixed amount of $30 plus 15%, which is 0.15 of the total bill, the unknown x. And that's what we're trying to find, the customer's food bill. So solving for this, subtract 30 using subtraction property of equality. We have 0.15x equals 75. Divide using division property of equality, both sides by 0.15, and I think we get the answer of 500. In this case, it's $500 of total bills that were earned or were paid for by the customers, and this person got some of that money towards her salary of 105. So they had 30 from the fixed amount and 75 of tips. So, another model down here, similar problem. We have real estate. A real estate agent's base salary is $22,000 per year. The agent earns 4% commission on total sales. How much must the agent sell to earn $60,000 in 1 year? Same layout as last equation. Total is 60,000. That comes from two parts. One is the fixed 22,000 plus the percentage of the total sales. And they tell us it's 4% of the total, so we know it's going to be 0.04 times X. And you can solve the rest of that, subtract and divide. On the next page. Now we're going to two-step, we have variables on both sides. And as we learned in the last section, we just got to combine like terms. So in this case, we got some p terms and we got some constants. And to solve, you got to get the variable on one side, the constants on the other, and then simply divide or subtract, and then divide to find the value. So for this, I think I'm going to move the 7p over to the 9p and the 5 over the 13. So over here on the side, 7p plus 13 equals 9p minus 5. I'll subtract 7p from both sides. Subtraction property of equality. 13 equals 2p minus 5. Now add this 5 constant to both sides. Addition property of equality. 2p equals 18. Divide by 2. Division property of equality. P equals 9. I see that's the answer D. Pretty simple to do. In the next one here, we have a problem with distributed property. So distributed 3, distributed -2, combine like terms, and solve. So I'll go over here to the side. 3 times 5x and then 3 times -8 will be 15x minus 24. That equals, now it's a -2 times a -x, I'm going to have 2x. -2 times +7 is -14, and then -12x. Now I combine like terms. I see I have, this will become a -10x over here, so I'll just do that first step here, just simplifying. This is one level of simplification, so I'll have -14 minus 10x. I'll add 10x to both sides. Addition property of equality. This gives me 25x minus 24 equals -14. I'll add 24 to both sides. Let's go on. This gives me a 10, so I have 25x equals 10. And division property of equality, divide by 25, x equals 10 25ths. You all know that to be 2/5. Last problem I'm going to do for you. Another model. It's a little bit different than the last two that we did. It says car wash. It takes you 8 minutes to wash a car. It takes a friend 6 minutes to wash a car. How long does it take the two of you to wash 7 cars if you work together? So we have to work this in terms of rate. So it takes you per car, 1 car in 8 minutes. So that's 1/8 for a fixed amount of time. Your buddy, it takes 1/6, 1 car in 6 minutes, in so much time. And the number of cars you're trying to do is 7. All right, to simplify this, so we get rid of the fractions, I'd say we multiply both sides by 24. That's the least common multiple for these two guys. That'll get rid of the 8 and 6 and clean things up for us. So multiply the entire equation by 24. So this becomes 24 over 8, which is going to be 3t. 24 over 6, which is 4t. And 7 times 24, I guess that's 168. Of course, add up the 3t, 4t, I have 7t equals 168. Divide by 7. And I know that my old job, that's 168 hours in a week, 24 hours a day. So this is going to be t equals 24. So what does that mean? Well, it means that it takes you guys 24 minutes to do 7 cars working together at your respective rates.